everyone. First of all, I feel very honored to have been asked to share with you guys today. And if I'm honest, I feel a little bit of imposter syndrome where I'm just like, who even are you? But I'm Jalynn Baker, and I am going to be talking to you guys today about how I personally use photography to cultivate empathy and to really learn to love people. Even if as you're listening to me, you feel like, oh, I'm not a creative or, I don't identify with, being a photographer, that's okay. I would just challenge you as you listen to take inventory within yourself and think like, what are the skills and the tools and the resources that you have readily accessible to you that you can use um, to give to people and to really cultivate an empathy that moves toward advocacy for others. So personally, I have identified as a photographer for about half of my life now. I was doing the math and I was like, okay, I'm 27 and I fell in love with photography as a freshman in high school. And so today, photography for me is just a way to share stories that matter to me. I have always loved stories about people. When I was a little girl, I would love reading books about people's cultures and their experiences and just um, really learning about them and always like people watching and just watching people and really seeing them. And so I take notes with my eyes all the time. And for me, portraits are in a way like a tiny little biography, like just maybe a paragraph or a couple sentences about a person. But really, if you look at it, you can learn about people and who they are just in their expression and their posture and their outfit and their choice of like how they wear their hair and all of that kind of stuff. You can just really pay attention and find out like how do they want to be remembered and who is this person. And I know that we all probably have a bajillion selfies on our phones or pictures of other people on our phones. Like we're always taking pictures. And so that's how photography started for me, like as memories. But it has become a tool for truth telling for me, to listen and to love people and to just sit with them and say, you matter to me. And so I know if I could see all of you guys, I would ask you, like, where all my fellow empaths at? You could, like, raise your hand. You can act like I see you, just raise your hand. If you are an empath, you know that we feel pain so deeply. Like, are, it's not just a matter of feeling bad about something that happened to somebody and kind of moving on. But when we hear of people's pain, it's like, I'm sitting in this with you. It's like I feel it myself. And it often means like I want to help alleviate it in some way. And I've learned that, we can't always fix problems immediately, unfortunately. But as an empath, I know how to listen to people and really hear them out. And photography is something that has trained my eyes to truly see people, not just to hear them, but like to really be with them fully. And so everybody has a tool. Like I said at the beginning, a lot of us have more than one that we can use to make the world a better place. But I personally, I went into college knowing that photography was my tool. And I really didn't even have a backup plan. Like I didn't have oh, if I'm not going to major in art and photography, I'm going to do this. Like really that was, I went into school knowing like I'm going to be a professional photographer. And like I said, I found high school as a freshman in high school. Or I found photography as a freshman in high school. My mom bought this little dinky little silver camera, and she never used it. And so basically, it just became mine because I would use it every day after school. I was practicing shooting, and I was that nerdy kid that like my best friend was a robot. Like I really was that kid, just always taking pictures. And so for my 15th birthday, my parents bought me my own DSLR camera to use. And so that was the point where I started offering portrait sessions, mostly for free or like really discounted prices, where I was like, it's on sale, it's fine. But I longed to not have to call myself an aspiring photographer and to be able to say, like, this is my portfolio, here's my work, I'm a professional, hire me. And so throughout high school and into college, I was booking sessions either on the weekends or after class, and saving up my little pennies and investing in better equipment. And thankfully, I made it through the existential crisis that I think hits maybe every art major, where just like, oh my gosh, it's all been done before. Like, nothing is original. Why even keep creating? I made it through that, thankfully. And I think we all, like my classmates and I, we just wanted to be different and wanted to find our own unique voice and what it was that differentiated us as artists. But honestly, it was really difficult to do. And I personally did not find that in my college career. I was searching and searching, and I just kept creating, which I think is key to just keep going, and you'll find it eventually. But as I shot more and more photos, I realized that my favorite sessions weren't necessarily the ones that I was being paid to do, but the ones that were more story based. I would often explore just different things that were intriguing to me, different definitions in society of what beauty is, or what is diversity, what does home mean to me versus other people around the world, in Mexico, or wherever they may be. Um, and I also shot a lot of food photography. Honestly, developed a borderline obsession with it in college, where after class I would be standing in my mom's kitchen on her chairs, like photographing vegetables on her counter, just really random stuff. But those honestly were the glory days, because I just could shoot whatever I wanted to, and I just had all of the free time to do it with no paycheck dictating the value of it. But unfortunately, obviously that ended. I had to graduate and move on, grow up, and put my big girl pants on. And so when I graduated, I began working my first job as an entry level fashion photographer. I worked for a local retail store, and that really wasn't for me. I did it for a few years, and I moved on and went to work for a production company in Knoxville that creates a lot of images for marketing, just on blogs and all kinds of stuff. And I was shooting a lot, learning so much, gaining valuable experience for what could have been um, a great career in commercial photography. But I felt like I had so much less time to work on the story based projects that really meant a lot to me. Even though my value in the consumer world was growing, my personal fulfillment and satisfaction was going down. And I really felt guilty and like ungrateful that I was dissatisfied with these jobs. Like, I felt like I'm literally being hired to do like salaried full-time positions as a photographer, like pursuing my high school dream. I had fantasized about taking pictures for HGTV and Food Network, and like that's what I was doing. And I just felt like, oh my gosh, like what is my problem? Why am I not satisfied with this? What's going on? And I finally realized that the dissatisfaction that I felt wasn't a generational character flaw after all. Like, I felt like, if I was my grandparents, they would just keep on with this job and like be really happy that they had the money to pay their bills. Um, but I accepted that my definition of valuable work does not have to match somebody else's. Like, it's okay that for my employers, like, this is extremely valuable, and it was good work. But I think it does not, my value, my definition of what is valuable doesn't have to match someone else's. And it was so freeing to just accept that, and be able to say, my success for me is using my skill to tell truthful stories, stories that encourage people and challenge people and uplift them. And so, like, over many years of shooting, photography has trained my eyes to listen to people. And I knew surely it can be used to teach other people how to do the same thing. And so that is when I started a series, a photo series called How Did We Get Here? And I have some slides just of some of those images to show you guys. But I began to work on portraits that center the voices of Black, Indigenous, and people of color first and foremost, and just amplify the stories of people that I see being marginalized in our society. And so you can just flip through those photos as I share this, but basically, I wasn't being paid to take these pictures. It once again, like back in college, it was not a lucrative project, but it was a very fulfilling one. Because honestly, each photo for me was saying like these people matter, and I want them to matter to you too as you look at the photos and learn about the people. And so I was asking friends to share their stories of how they came to live in the United States. And there was a vast array of stories. I only did 14 photos so far for this project, but in that group of people, there were refugees and people that came on student visas to study here, people that were adopted as children, or just came wanting a better life for their family. And so it was a literal title, How Did We Get Here? But also, um, not only just exploring that path from your country of origin to the United States, but also saying like, how did we get to this state in our immigration policy? Like, we're at a crisis where our economy is being prioritized over basic human decency. We're separating nursing mothers from their infants at the border, and people are just wasting away in detention centers. And I think I'm always asking myself, like, how did we get here? Like, it's a very complicated problem to fix, but I just always ask that. And also, I worked on another recent series for Juneteenth this summer. I just really wanted to celebrate the diversity of Blackness and the different ways that people display their identities, their racial identities, just specifically that small piece of us. But I think in this season of 2020, we really need empathy for each other, to just sit and listen to people and hear them out. And there have been multiple attempts to steal the dignity of Black people, and I just really wanted to provide an opportunity in these portraits to just exhale and to be able to define Blackness for ourselves, and to just be, like, to just soak in the sun and just be. So it was a project for me that, like, personally was a way to reclaim our identity and our joy, but just to say, like, we are still here. And like Catherine said, in the middle of this project or these projects, I really love working with children. And so I actually quit my job working as a full-time photographer, and now I work for a local nonprofit that works with at-risk youth. And thankfully, I'm able to incorporate photography into what I do as I share their mission and just tell those stories. But I'm moving further and further into alignment with who I want to be, and what matters to me. And I'm finding that why that, like, I was searching for in college. I create work. I want to create work that pushes and prods at the assumptions that we have about other people, that protests against bigotry and broken systems, that defies white supremacy, that implores viewers to listen to people, really, really listen to them, and to just acknowledge the inherent value that we have as equal human beings. I believe all people created were created by God. Just as a Christian, I don't think that people can take away value from other humans, but regardless of your beliefs, I think we can all make the decision to see people and love them. So during this pandemic, I know, like, life has flipped upside down for all of us. And I personally have just been learning and relearning that my worth is not based in my profit and my productivity. Again, for myself and for you too, my worth is not based in my profit or my productivity. I'm not just valuable when I make profitable work. I'm valuable when I'm making meaningful work that matters. And even though I am always going to be an overachieving, perfectionistic hard worker, like, it just runs in my family's blood, it's not going anywhere, I just always want to keep in my mind, like my value comes from using my tools and my skills for good. And so, yeah, I might not get rich through photography, though I value my work and I price it accordingly. I'm not only basing my success on how much money that I make. I know that I was made to create and to speak truth and love with my work. And so that's exactly what I'm doing with this tool called photography. And that's what I really hope to do with my whole entire life, is just to speak truth and to love people.